it's another side that like wants to take more, wants to go that one more round, because like going that one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference in your life. You know what I mean?
Welcome to another episode of One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast. I am your host, Ryan. With me today, of course, is Kyle. Unfortunately, Katie couldn't be here today because she is on vacation again, and somebody just as pretty has decided to...
Oh, Jesus.
Without a ranked contender, what we're going to need is a novelty.
Doug for the Rocky Minute and all those other great shows, the shows he does with me as well on the Stallone films. Doug, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, man. You always do this to me. You always find a way to make me blush over, thousands of miles between us.
Just wait till we meet in person, man.
Ryan seems like he's being a nice guy here, but what I think he's doing is he's rattling your cage a bit to establish dominance in the podcast.
I see.
To throw you off your game.
Yeah. He's a little threatened. I can feel it.
You do have big guns. You're a very strong guy, and you're a police officer, right? So
yes, yeah. At least once per episode, you gotta bring that up. But yes,
we are gonna miss Katie. Katie did provide her own thoughts via voice file. It's going to be played, so I haven't decided if it's going to be played at the beginning of the episode or at the end of the episode. So if it's at the end of the episode, folks, we'll be tied up. We're not going to do the ding ding until Katie has been heard. So listen to her thoughts, folks. I'm sure, as always, she's the consummate professional. I mean, check out her podcast called the Retro Made Podcast. Now, I'm not going to say that she wouldn't have done the podcast if it wasn't for me inviting her on our podcast, the Rocky Show, but I think she got the bug, obviously, from doing it with me. And I just want to say, I'm just so proud of her to see her spread her wings and do her own thing. It's just kind of cool. I love seeing that. I love seeing that Doug and Kyle you can meet each other and all the other podcasts on the network, and people kind of become friends or do shows together. I'm not saying it's because of me, but it kind of is. But it makes me, what I'm saying is I like it, though. It just makes me happy that people have come together.
You joined all of us from all over the world onto the same network. So, yeah, it is kind of because of
Ryan, you could have had a successful career as maybe like a cult leader or something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. He's got some David
but Ryan did it for good. He started something non-toxic, but like in an alternate universe, like evil Ryan would have started a podcast cult.
Just wait until he starts sending out the recipe for the fruit punch that we all got to drink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ryan, you had the chance to be a cult leader, but instead of that, you became a
second-rate podcaster.
It's a living.
It's barely living. Hey, speaking of living, I want to thank those few people that join my Patreon and help pay for the feed. That's basically what the Patreon does, guys. It actually does pay for the last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network feed. It's greatly appreciated because it almost covers the cost that it cost me. It's once a month. Oh, we have racist Mickeys in the chat. Okay, so I know who this is now. I don't want to out the individual, but I know who's doing this.
I want to point out that Louise is conspicuously not here.
Louise.
Right
So racist Mickey's in our chat. He says you're wasting time when he's going to talk about that dirty dago wop that I trained. Okay, we're getting there. we're getting there, racist Mickey. We're getting there. Speaking of which, Easy Maniac still hasn't come back to us. He still hasn't responded to our... I don't think he's ever going to. I just want to know if he heard it. What I really want to know, is he an AI? What are your thoughts, Doug? Do you think the guy's AI? Was that an AI voice when you heard that episode?
I did hear the episode. I know people, and I've listened to podcasters that drone on and are very monotone. It was hard to tell. But nothing surprises me anymore. You listen to WATP, Ryan, you hear like when they do the AI Carl or the AI Vinny, it's spot on, man. It's so hard to tell nowadays.
Good point. That's a very good point. So either it's really good AI or just a really bad podcaster.
Yeah. It's nowhere in the middle. It's either one or the other.
for his sake, let's hope it's AI. Okay. Well, this is fantastic. There's no emails to read, which is kind of good news, bad news, because we have a big episode to close the season on today. Still encourage people to send us emails, especially let us know what you thought of season 2, what your hopes are for season 3, all that good stuff. I do appreciate the comments that we do get on YouTube. Speaking of which, I should actually read a couple because it ties into some of the things we talked about. So I think it was you, Kyle, that asked the question if the Italian market was still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rocco, the Rocky trivia book author, he said yes.
I don't know if there's outdoor stands there are in the movies, though.
Maybe not. Yeah. He just said that he was there in September.
Me and the family went to Philly last year, and we hit a couple of the spots, and we had lunch at the Italian market in Philadelphia. It's called Reading Market, I think. Reading. It was all indoors. They had different setups, pop-up restaurants inside the big marketplace, but I didn't see any outdoor. There were no outdoor stands, so I don't know if it's still like that.
Well, that's good to know. And then lastly, we got a message here from Simon. Oh, this is Simon D. This is our filmmaker fan. He just wrote this on our YouTube page. He said, fun episode. I thought the montage, so he's speaking about the montage. He thought the montage was to juxtapose Rocky as a man of the people, inspiration to kids, and growing as a family man. So we're talking about the kids and then the kids running with him, his own personal kid, all that stuff. Welt's also training, etc., compared to Apollo's intense and alone in his training and thoughts and neglecting his family. Like in the earlier scene, wouldn't you rather play with your children? That's why they showed him with the kids and with the people. Because Rocky, though he's still training for the fight, still a man of the people, he's still a family man, whereas Apollo's still in his head and kind of shutting everybody out.
Right.
That's a good way to look at it.
Good point, yeah.
And also
I don't think Rocky or Apollo are going to be winning any Father of the Year awards.
Fair. Very fair.
What evidence do you have of that?
The Creed films?
Yeah, correct. Rocky Balboa?
Yeah, very much
starting
so.
Right there, yeah. Actually, starting with Rocky 5, it kind of starts to go off the rails for Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky 5. Okay, now before we get into the final fight, of course, the final part of the film, we did talk about in episode 14 some things, and I shared this with Kyle and Katie online, but off the episode, where I discovered things regarding some answers to questions that we brought up during that episode regarding the Rocky Win t-shirt. And Doug, you probably already know this. You might have covered this on the Rocky Minute. Let me know. Mm-hmm. And if you did, I obviously heard it, but I've forgotten over the years. But we speculated that the shirt or the quotations of Rocky in the shirt was to say that his name actually isn't Rocky. That's the only thing that makes sense. So it's Win Rocky. You're not Rocky. Your name is Robert Win. But we're like, but that doesn't make sense because his name Robert wasn't revealed as Robert until the Rocky 5 film, if you watch the films as they are today. However, now this is key because there's two things here. The shirt, Win Rocky Win, Doug, did you know this, was actually created, made, and filmed for the first Rocky film.
It was for the first one? It was gifted to him by Adrian, if I'm not mistaken.
But for the first Rocky film.
Maybe I did know that at some point, but
yeah, if you actually watch I think I put the pictures on the YouTube. I know you don't do the YouTube version, Doug. You do the audio only, but on our YouTube version of that, I actually showed the pictures of Adrian giving Rocky the shirt from a grocery bag, and she's wearing the same clothes and outfits that she does. And it was filmed for the first Rocky film.
I know when she's wearing that red coat with the white fur, and she brings buckets to the house. I did know that. Yeah,
that's right. So it was that sequence when they go in the house. That's right. What do they eat? They eat turtles. It was after they walk. That's right. So they walk into the house and they filmed it. And it was actually in the script as well. So they had that shirt, and Stallone / Rocky wore that shirt in the first film. So it's actually canonized that Rocky owned that shirt in the first events of the first Rocky film. So when he's doing the speed bag with Mickey, he's actually wearing that blue shirt.
Oh yeah.
So Adrian gifts Rocky the shirt. So this is all canon. So when she says Win in the hospital sequence, she's actually referring to the gift that she gave him previously in the first Rocky film. So the shirt wasn't made because Adrian said Win, because we kind of speculated how quickly did she get that shirt made so Rocky could wear it. He already had it for a year.
That's a cool little nugget.
It is a cool little nugget. Yeah. And that's actually old canon because they filmed it. It's in the script. It just got cut out. So it's in Sly's original script. Now, secondly, the reason why it's in quotations is because his name is Robert. He said, well, Ryan, they didn't say that. Again, part 2, they filmed this in, you can actually go online. You see that there's a screenshot of him going to his high school and it said, welcome home, Robert.
Yeah.
The canon was his name has been Robert since at least the second Rocky film. But again, they cut out the scene. The shirt was already made because Sly knew that his name wasn't Rocky. It was named after Marciano as a nickname. He took it upon himself. So it all ties in now. Now we know why the shirt is the way it is, how he got it so quickly.
I would love to know what he said to those high school kids. Hey, I may have only gone to 9th grade. Somehow became super successful. So but don't do that because chances are you're not going to get lucky like I did. Be a thinker, not a stinker. Maybe pour out that line from Apollo.
I'm pretty sure that when we cover Rocky 2, there's an excerpt in the book where he goes to his high school, and we covered that. I can't remember what he said to him.
Book was based on the original screenplay, so that would have, and it was filmed, but again, for time, the movie was already kind of long, so they took that out of the film. Say that all ties in. Now, to be fair to the Rocky franchise, at least for that continuum and the shirt and all that, it all makes sense now, and it makes me happy. But yeah, that's it. So I thought that was a nice little bow on the shirt, the name. Without further ado, let's go to the film.
Oh, I was going to talk about my plan.
Oh, what's your plan?
Carl Weathers.
Speak of there he is there.
So Carl Weathers, he's on The Mandalorian. There's a fan expo in Edmonton in September where he and a bunch of other people in The Mandalorian are going to be there, and you could meet them and stuff. So my mission, I don't know if I'll be successful or not, is to get him to do a video shout out for the podcast to recommend that people download One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast.
That's
so
awesome.
I don't know if he'll do it or not, but that's the plan.
That would be amazing.
So maybe this fall, fingers crossed.
Tell Carl Weathers that we have never said one bad thing about Carl Weathers in all these episodes. Carl Weathers as an actor and his performance in the show, we've been very gracious to Carl.
I may tell him I have cancer and it's my dying wish or something.
Oh, wow.
Like I may have to do something like that.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Carl Weathers has never been surrounded in any kind of scandal either. So as far as I know, he's been nothing but like a nice guy on set, and he's not terrible to work with. From people that have approached him in public, I've seen that he's nothing but a sweetheart.
That's good to hear.
There's certain actors you hear negative things about, like they're just pricks in real life, but Carl Weathers never ever comes up.
I want you guys keep playing this, but I want you guys to indulge me in something throughout like the beginning part of the fight. Okay. Now, when we go minute by minute, we really look at the fine details of each frame, starting with the scene that you just wrapped up with him looking in the mirror to the pre-fight stuff to even the early stages in the fight. We noticed some very small, slight apprehension in Apollo's face. Okay, just try to pay attention to that. Tell me if you guys pick up on that at all.
Yeah, I'd say I did.
Starting with that scene that you just finished.
You know that feeling like shit's getting real?
Yeah.
He's building himself up that whole time about, I'm going to just destroy him in 2 rounds or whatever. And now that the fight's really happening, he probably remembers what it was actually like to be in the ring with Rocky and realizes, okay, this could go the other way. It's like I could have a rough night tonight.
If he does somehow lose this fight, that his career is over.
Yeah, this is really the defining moment. Like, this is it. He either wins this and gets that monkey off his back, or he loses it and he's done. Because he's like a weird perfectionist. Right. Like, he can't stand that someone even goes the distance with him. He has to win all of his fights by knockout. He could ever go into a fight with a record with any losses in the column.
Did you notice, too, for this opening sequence when they show the crowd, and, of course, Stu and Bill are announcing the fight, they have real people in the crowd now that seem to be there for the filming. Did they piggyback another real event here, or are these all real extras pulled into the Spectrum? Do we know? They
have the stadium pretty lit up. They're showing off how much money they had for this film, saying, look, the stadium is lit up and it's full, instead of how dark it was in the first.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking too. Now, I don't know if the whole stadium was filled, but the parts they're showing has real, well, of course, no CGI back then.
Yeah, some parts where they might have just filled up one side of the arena. Some shots where you can see like the upper deck looks pretty empty. They're just focusing wherever the camera's pointing. That's where they loaded up the stands.
So you got people here in the crowd right here. So you got the sign Rocky.
I love just looking at these people. Yeah. And how different they look, the hairstyles, the clothing. Because this really wasn't that long ago. Like, it was decades ago, but it's like, it is funny how things change over time.
See that lady there, that old lady with the white jacket and the blue shirt? She's dead.
She's so dead. 40 years ago, yeah.
I think she was probably dead by part 3.
She did.
Okay, here we go. So now Rocky is saying goodbye to Baby Sergey.
About nothing. It's okay.
All right. So, Adrian, I wish the doctor would let you go to this fight. As you know, Doug and Kyle, you know that they filmed Adrian at the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen photos. I never seen any footage of it though.
I don't know if any footage exists, but they filmed it. There was some speculation that Talia Shire wasn't there because of some sort of filming obligation with another movie she was on. I think it's called Girlfriends or something like that. But that doesn't make sense because you see stock footage of Rocky after the fight in his full beaten up face makeup with the belt, holding Adrian in his arms like a.
She's holding the belt. He's carrying her with two arms, and she's holding the belt.
So obviously she was there during the production for the final fight sequence. And I went on, I forget the name of the site, Total Rocky. That's right, Total Rocky. They're really good at that's the site that gave me the information regarding the shirt and everything else, with the pictures and the script and everything. They also mentioned that it was false news or fake news that she was not available. They did film that sequence. They just decided to. I'm speculating here. I read it, and I was a better podcaster would have it memorized or written down notes. They basically said the producers and/or Sly went with that it was more emotive. Basically, the emotion was higher having Adrian at home. That's all. It just felt like it was more, and for him to yell out, "Yo, Adrian, I did it," because he's talking to her at the TV and all this other stuff. I think I forget how they worded it, but it was filmed twice or two different ways, and they chose it that way.
It's weird. She has a brand new baby. Like, you guys have kids. You don't get someone to babysit your brand new baby.
Especially Paulie.
Yeah, especially Paulie. Baby's that young is probably still nursing. You don't just leave the baby with someone at that age. They could have just said the logical thing is she's at home because of the baby.
Right.
Done.
Yeah.
Like, why the doctor doesn't let her go to the fight? To me, that's insane.
No, that's the only possible reason. Like, she just had a new baby. She's a brand new mom. There's no way that she can, like I said, get a babysitter for a baby that's what, 2 weeks old, a month old.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. I don't even know why they have to explain it away. Like,
Yeah.
It is what it is. She's home with the baby. Boom. And
Like, it almost makes it suspicious that you have to explain it away.
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure you've had some perpetrators that give you some story, Doug, that is like overly convoluted, and you're like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
this does not sit right.
Right. Too many details is suspicious.
Yeah.
All right, so go to totalrocky.com, or just Google Total Rocky 2 alternate ending. They go through the whole thing. I won't waste it, not waste, but people can research it if they want. It's very easy to search for it. They explain the whole thing, how it worked. And
Go to totalrocky.com and do Ryan's research for him.
how dare you? I don't do research on this show. What kind of podcast? We're not the Rocky Minute. You guys are the
Right. We overly research.
yes.
Or I do.
The best of all time. The girls love you. Men, old people love you. Young people love you. You're the best. You're the man. And he's yours. He's yours. He's yours. This bum shouldn't even be in the same ring with you. I want you to show him who you are tonight. Show him who you are tonight. Stick him.
Stick 'em.
We all know Tony knows he's lying. Tony knows Rocky's abilities.
I love that hype up talk though, man. The cadence and everything. Like, he's like just whispering in his ear, basically. I love it.
My favorite part is even old people love you.
Yeah, I
That's good.
love that.
He ran out of things to say, so he's just making
Like,
shit
men
up.
love you, women love you, children love you, old people love you.
So now Rocky, of course, leaves his house to go into the car to drive to the stadium. And there's a crowd outside waiting for him. Which in many ways would be pretty realistic if you think about it. If he was really a local hero fighter, people knew that he was at the house. They're waiting for him. Yeah, cheer him on. People that couldn't afford the tickets, but they get to see the fighter come out.
I'm always amazed by, like, in the pre-internet age, how people figure out addresses and phone numbers. And Rocky would be maybe dumb enough to list his number in the yellow pages or whatever, or the white pages. It's funny, like, 'cause you get these telegrams coming in, you get people like writing Apollo. It's like, how do you know Apollo's address? They find it. People are really good at that.
True, good point. Why is Paulie wearing a suit?
He wears a suit when he works. Like, you see him wearing a suit when he works.
Yeah.
He's probably working at the docks that day and then just came straight to Rocky's place.
If you're a loan shark collector, does wearing the suit make you more intimidating, or?
That's a good question, because it's like Rocky always had the leather jacket, which kind of gives the thug impression.
Yeah.
Paulie does have like physical capabilities. Paulie's a strong guy. Like, he's not weak. Like, he could break your thumb, But I wonder if his shtick is he wears the suit and he comes across as like a mobster, so like he doesn't have to do that. Like he
It must be the
just, like,
it must be the
intimidate people
mafia
into doing
look.
it.
Yeah, sorry, I stepped on you there. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's that. Yeah, it's that kind of Al Capone. Who's that Al Capone? That's his,
That's right. I love his pocket square though. Like he's dressed very nice. He looks great in that suit.
And listen, Paula, you're gonna help out with the baby tonight, right?
Take care of everything.
Okay, you just take care of everything now, because you're in charge,
I'll
all
take
right?
care of the dumb house. You're gonna be late for your own fight.
Why is Paulie in charge of anything, let alone everything? What Adrian's right there. Hey, Paulie, you're gonna watch my wife who can't do anything apparently? Why is that?
Rocky, remember that time Adrian said that she takes care of him and that she does all the things?
Yeah, good point.
Remember that? That's a thing of the time where like the man's in charge. The man is the head of the household.
I guess so. Or he's just saying that to make him feel special, but Adrian and Rocky both know that maybe they know
That could
that.
be it.
Yeah.
Okay, Paulie,
Yeah.
you're in charge now.
Yeah.
I want to count the number of beers he drinks during the fight. Like, there's a lot of them lined up. And I'm a guy that enjoys a beer or six or whatever, but I am impressed by his count there.
It's fine. Louis says, don't worry, Ryan. This is the last time that Paulie has a shred of self-respect. That's true.
True. Paulie looks awesome here. He looks cool. He looks really good. He's kind of more reasonable. It's weird what they did with the Paulie character. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, but he does change a lot in these films.
Yeah, we'll get to those changes for sure.
Well, maybe I better go fight now.
I love you.
I love you too.
Punch his lungs out.
Adrian, I wish you could go.
Doctor said no. I got the doctor's instructions.
They keep saying that. Like, they keep being like, the doctor said no. You got to remind the audience that
They're hammering it
It's
home.
weird. They are hammering it home. That is true. They're just letting the audience know Adrian can't be there. The doctor said no. And Paulie's like, I've got this doctor's instructions in my pocket. We believe you, guy. Stop convincing the audience that she can't be there.
Paulie is like the character that has a 6-movie character arc. Like, it really comes to a close in Rocky Balboa, how he just comes straight out and says, like, I was a shitty brother. You know, I don't need to be reminded of this good stuff because I was bad, you know. And that's really like the closing of his arc that he started all the way in Rocky 1.
Could not agree more.
Well, everyone agrees with Doug. He's the best.
Yeah. Oh, I want to mention something that I saw in the subtitles just a second ago.
Yeah.
Rocky Balboa, I know, is a 5-1 underdog. I know he's still a street brawler from Philadelphia, but can he repeat that incredible performance of 10 months ago? And you know, he took.
If you remember from the first film, Rocky was a 50-1 underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's only 5-1. Now, 5-1 means you have a 1 in 6 chance. So that's the roll of a dice, a roll of a die, should I say.
Yeah.
So that's not like the worst odds. You know, chances are Paul's going to win, but the sports betting people don't think it's a fluke.
Good point. Yeah, good point. Yeah, 51, those are unbelievable odds. But yeah, 1 in 6, you're right. That's not bad. So, of course, Rocky now makes a stop at Father Carmine's chapel here. He's got time, apparently.
A real cheating at the hands of the champion.
Actually, he doesn't. He's just going anyway.
Hey, yo, Father Carmine! Father Carmine! Hey, Father Carmine, you home? Father Carmine! Hey, yo, Father Carmine!
Ma chi è?
That's me, Rocky Balboa.
Rocky?
Yeah.
Ma che cosa fai là? Non deve fare la lotta questa sera.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to the fight right now, but I was wondering if you could do me a small favor, you know?
Ma sicuro, che favore? Che?
We need to find someone who speaks Italian
Yeah,
to
I was
translate.
just thinking that. I wonder if you can, like, with AI and stuff now, just run that clip through and see
Maybe.
if it would translate.
Yeah, I'm sure there is an AI. I don't know where it is, but you'd have to be an audio AI to translate. Yeah, good point.
I'm going to write a note down.
Okay.
I'm going to...
Yeah, because I wonder if Father Carmine is actually referring to the fight, and that's just a joke. He's saying, hey, can't you see I'm busy with the altar boy here? Like, who knows? Who knows what he's saying, right?
You know, what I think he's saying is, I was just watching a pregame fight on TV. What the hell are you doing here and not at the arena?
Pre-fight's just ended. They're announcing you're coming into the ring. Why are you even here? He throws down a blessing because if he's saying something that Rocky's legit answering properly, then that means the Rocky can understand that conversation. So I want to know, what is he saying, and if Rocky is truly understanding the Italian that's being spoken to him.
Understanding a language is way easier than articulating yourself in a language. If his parents spoke Italian growing up, or he was around people speaking Italian growing up, his brain just knows what Father Carmine's saying, but then he can't actually come up with the words to have a conversation back with him in Italian. I think he understands what Father Carmine's saying.
Okay, I think so too, but I really want to know what he's saying here.
I will find that out. Like, if you go on something like somewhere like Reddit and just post like, this is the clip, could you
That's
please
true. We might
translate?
have to post
Someone will do
it
it.
on an Italian Reddit, yeah. Editor insertion. That sounds terrible. This is Ryan. So I'm editing the episode, and during my edit, Kyle messaged myself and Katie in our group chat on Facebook, said, hey, I got the answer to the question we just talked about, or what you just listened to, folks. So here is the answer. Now, I'm not going to read the Italian. I will not read the Italian because I will suck at it. So I'm going to have AI read it. So basically, the AI is going to read the Italian that was said by Father Carmine, and then right after that, so the AI does a terrible job too, so just bear with me. It's an English AI reading Italian, so it's kind of phonetically reading it. But the you'll hear the Italian first, and then you'll hear, of course, the response afterwards. You guys know the scene well enough to know what Rocky is saying in between. Fair? Okay, so we got the answer anyway, so here you go. We're the first podcast to ever do this. I know, we're amazing.
Machie? Who is this? Mache cosa fai la? Non devi fare in la questa sera? What are you doing here? Don't you have a fight tonight? Ma sicuro. Che favor? Che favor? But of course. What favor? What favor? Padre, Figlio, Spirito Santo. E csia. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So be it.
All right, so there you go, folks. That's it. Rocky indeed understands Father Carmine, and Rocky asks for the favor, and the father says, what favor, and he gives a blessing. That's it. There you go, folks. That is what is said, and thus proving that Rocky at least knows Italian, and he doesn't have to read a dummy card like this AI did.
Well, it's about to fight, now I got the family and the baby and all that stuff, and I was wondering, if you could throw down a blessing so that if I get beat up tonight, it won't be too bad, Could you do something like that?
Padre, Figlio, Spirito Santo. E così sì.
Thanks a lot, Father. Listen, I appreciate it. I gotta go. I'm so late. I'll see you in church. I hope. Take care.
I had a $50 against you in the fight.
He didn't ask to win. He just asked if I get beat up tonight. It ain't too bad.
It ain't too bad. Well, that's the normal Rocky humility.
Right.
And look at the cops in this hallway, guys. Mm-hmm. Doug, you're a cop, right? Is this kind of police force necessary for the hallway? For the
Doug, would there be 2 sergeants in that hallway?
I noticed that. So they're fighting to say, no, I'm in charge. For security for something like this would probably be beefed up.
Yeah, but they got 7 cops for like 20 feet of real estate. Like, how many?
Like, put a cop at the entrance for Christ's sake, and then like, why is it down the hallway? Like, what's going to happen in this hallway?
With the riot helmets on and everything.
Yeah.
I'll break your head. What you mean? You lost your brain or something? We gotta fight. Remember that? Get dressed, will you? There's a million people.
Stu, there are many rumors circulating about this fight.
Well, the most obvious being a definite desire for Apollo to draw first blood, to end it quickly. This would prove his claim to the last fight was a fluke.
That's a fair statement from the commentators that, yes, Apollo wants to go out there and just end this quickly. Just
look how annoyed Marianne Creed looks.
Right? Like, what's she looking at?
She's just like, I just want this thing to end now. I'm so sick of this goddamn fight and him constantly training. Like, please, I don't care if he wins or loses, just do this.
She's his spouse, and you got to imagine that's all he's probably talked about. Mm-hmm. That's all he's talked about for the last 10 months is this guy, Rocky. And she's like, please.
I wonder if he follows the same women weak in legs philosophy as Mickey does.
She's a little frustrated.
Yeah, maybe. Don't worry, Tony's taking care of that. He's taking care of it.
Oh, man.
That's why she's not looking over there. She can't look at Tony and her man together. It's too much for
that's
her.
Exactly why.
Hurricane!
Oh, I want to point something out, actually, about him doing that shadow boxing. I don't know if you remember when Andy Ruiz, he's like the Mexican guy that became heavyweight champion a few years ago. He's like really kind of like fat looking.
Mm.
he beat the shit out of Anthony Joshua, who's kind of like this Adonis looking like guy. Anyways, one of the comments on Anthony Joshua people made, and other like Tyson Fury, another heavyweight champion, made about him when he left the locker room, is he's like, he wasn't sweating at all when he left. Like Anthony Joshua, like he didn't warm up. Like you should, before a fight, warm up and get a full sweat going. So when you go into the ring, you're loosened up, you're ready to go. And Apollo's doing that, where Rocky kind of isn't. Like he's just praying. He got there like with barely enough time to get ready. Yeah, it doesn't look good for Rocky there.
Now he is praying, and good point though. I also want to speak to the Marianne actress. She's of course passed away.
Well, she passed away back in the 80s.
But yes, she did pass away after Rocky 4. Not much longer after.
I think her
Rocky
name's
4.
Sylvia Meals. I want to say.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
and she wasn't in Rocky 3 at all. I don't think it was just 2 and 4.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, she died of cancer.
Oh,
sucks.
She got the woman cancer.
The woman cancer.
Yeah.
It's time, kid.
So there you go. The classic "It's Time, Kid," which they reused again, of course, in the Creed films when Rocky says to Adonis, "It's time, kid." And of course, he's praying here, and this is referenced again in Rocky 3 when Mickey says to Paulie, "It makes me nervous when he does that."
Yeah.
You notice Rocky stopped praying eventually, like when he became the champ.
Yeah,
like I think he kind of did a crossing of himself against Clubber Lang, but by the time Ivan,
I told you it's Rocky
around,
too. He's so religious in this film.
By the time Ivan Drago came around, he's like, "No, I'm just going to train. It'll be fine."
I'm an atheist now.
Yeah. Win or lose, you're going to get the shit beat out of you for sure. Like Apollo kind of wonders, what's going to happen?
To get a headache.
First round, will I not? Rocky's like, best case scenario, this is going to 15, and I squeak out a win at the end.
As Rocky's walking out the hallway, I just noticed this for the first time just now. There's Apollo's people right there waiting in the hallway. They're right next to each other.
Pretty normal, I think.
I thought they went through different entrances, or at least, I don't know. I find that odd that his people are there watching Rocky. Then, I mean, I know those are just kind of the side guys, but I never noticed Apollo's people standing there before.
One mistake they make in these movies is that when you tape up your gloves, like when they showed Tony taping up Apollo, or taping up his hands, you're supposed to have someone from the other camp supervise that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so the hands are taped properly.
Objects.
There's there's no objects in there or something like that. So you should have seen Apollo's person in that dressing room. You should have seen Rocky's person in that dressing room, but you
that's
don't.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I think I'm starting to get a headache here.
No, you are in perfect working condition. You are perfect.
And you look good too.
Yeah, thanks. And you look perfect. Perfect.
Hey, Mick.
Yeah.
Hey, Mick.
Yeah.
In case I don't get a chance, I just want to say I'm going to be trying hard for you today, okay?
Thank you.
Ain't this robe nice? It's better than last year, that's for sure. Remember that baggy one last year?
This is gorgeous. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's real cute. I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Mickey said perfect around 6 times in that little exchange.
He's trying to keep the spirits up. He was really bad at Rocky, but then
yeah,
Rocky
buttered him up. Yeah.
Of course, the mention of the robe. We know, of course, the lore. The first film, the prop department gave Sly a robe that was too big.
Never. I got a comment on something that was said there, but we could rewind and do it. So please continue.
Production's higher value now. They've got a robe that properly fits Sly. So that was kind of just a nod to the last film's robe was too big. This one fits perfectly.
I like it when they comment on production stuff. Like I loved how he commented how baggy the robe was in the first episode, and I love it when they comment on stuff people who know the film well would know about. But there was when Rocky was being mobbed by people walking through here, one of the commentators said, "How a fighter of such limited ability could gain such popularity is a mystery."
Yes, Rocky Balboa heading toward the ring now. Yes, sir, Rocky Balboa, known to millions as Italian Stallion, making his way to the ring. Why this fighter of limited ability has gained such popularity is such a mystery. Rocky Balboa, and the folks here at the Spectrum are beginning to chant his name. He has an awful lot of backers here.
I find that comment by the sportscaster baffling. It's like the sportscaster doesn't understand how sports works. Right. But I understand that people respect and admire skill in technicality in sports, but it's like Rocky is popular because of like his heart, in that he's an underdog that went the distance with the champ. How do you not know that after everything that's been said about Rocky over time? He's like, yeah, this guy doesn't have any skill. I really don't understand why he's so popular. But like, where have you been over like the last 6 months?
Yeah, it's super condescending to say that. And you're right. It shows that they know nothing about fandom.
Yeah.
And he's in his hometown. Is it really that much of a mystery why the entire stadium is chanting his name and cheering for him?
Yeah, like this guy who is the only person to actually really challenge Apollo Creed ever represents them in their town.
So listen to the comment they make about the high school. Did you catch that?
Popularity is such a mystery. Rocky Balboa, and the folks here at the Spectrum are beginning to chant his name. He has an awful lot of backers here.
First, he says there's a lot of backers here. They're starting to chant his name, which is now the genesis of the Rocky chant was this film, because they didn't do that in the first film. Or did they chant Rocky in the first film? I don't think. Did they?
They did at the end when Apollo was against the ropes.
Just right at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's punching. Like when you got that last punch, you could hear people yelling, Rocky, Rocky. Like he turned the crowd.
Balboa is wearing a black and gold robe. He wore a red one the last time from that meat packing plant. Some said that was from the high school that he never graduated.
31 years of age. There he is over shaking hands with the...
Did you ever catch that joke before?
Yeah, but I just find it funny that's like such an asshole thing to say.
Yeah. Some say, who's saying that? Stu, you?
Yeah, that's like a real, I don't know if I want to mention this guy in the podcast. Be prepared to edit. That's like a real like Fox News Trump thing where it's like some people said this, some people say, but it's like who's that person? Like no one knows.
And now Rocky's shaking hands with Lou Filippo, the future killer of his best friend.
Lou Filippo, who really doesn't need to be there. To be honest with you, he does nothing.
Right.
He maybe breaks them up occasionally. Like it's basically a free for all in that ring.
Yeah, he doesn't stop him from punching after the bell.
No, he doesn't care. He's just like, that'll work out.
Look at Apollo's eyes here.
Yeah, he hears the chants. He hears the chants of Rocky. He hears the crowd calling Rocky's name. This is just pissing him off. He's the champion, but they're calling for Rocky. Yeah.
Well, that lawyer guy did tell him that if he uses this humiliation tactic, he's going to be seen as the bad guy. And then now the chickens are coming home to roost, buddy.
Now, here's a comment that comes up, and
this area is certainly packed with Rocky's people. I've never seen so many Italians in one place in my life.
Hey, you said that. I didn't say that.
those who may or may not know or listen to my Rambo podcast, my co-host Dom, he is a full-blooded Italian. And I asked him, like, are you offended by that comment? Does that make it like you're an Italian? He's from New York. He's from that part of the country, that area, the East Coast of New York, where a lot of Italians are. He doesn't understand why the other commentator even said, like, he's actually, as an Italian, he doesn't understand what this is. 79 as well. Let's be honest, things weren't things weren't even PC back then. So I'm just curious, was there something going on that we're not aware of in 79 with Italians? Or
there was more Italian hate back in like the 50s. Mayor LaGuardia in New York, that was his big thing, was that Italians were mistreated and misrepresented in New York. And he was like, I believe New York's first Italian mayor. And now the airport is named after him. The issue with Italians was a little fresher back then.
Why seeing them gathered in one place, though?
It's not, honestly. For instance, if this fight was in Atlanta or somewhere like that, and I know this is not the same, but I'm just saying this for the sake of argument.
Sure.
And some guy's like, man, this place is really full of Apollo's people. I've never seen so many black people in one place in my life.
Yeah,
that's going to rub people the wrong way.
I guess that might be what it is. Yeah, I guess if you change Italian to black people, then it sounds, I guess the sensitive nature amps up a little bit. But like you're saying, there might have been some sort of sensitivity back then that I was 4 years old when this movie came out. So I was unaware of it for sure. Okay. All right.
Okay, so I have a quick dumb story.
Oh, yeah.
So I was volunteering on Friday because it's Indigenous Peoples Day here in Canada.
Oh,
and
nice.
there's a lot of issues in Canada with racism against like Indigenous people. Like, So I'm volunteering there and I'm working security at this event. And there's this other guy who's like a paid security guy, also white guy. And he's complaining loudly about how our football team, the Eskimos, got changed to the Elks, kind of like how the Cleveland Indians got changed to the Guardians, or the Redskins got changed, and how it's so stupid. And he's saying this loud, and I felt like Bill or Stu there. It's like, whoa. Like, don't get me involved. I'm not with this guy. I don't know him.
You automatically want to absolve yourself of any wrongdoing.
Yeah,
there,
Doug might not know this Eskimo because I don't think Americans know this actually, but Eskimo in Canada is a derogatory term.
I know that they call them indigenous. You guys call them indigenous.
Eskimo is and we used to refer to them like indigenous people of the North were referred to specifically because they would eat raw meat because they didn't make fires because of the snow. So it was all incorrect and all because Eskimo, I believe, means raw meat eater or something to that effect.
I've heard that.
That's right. They're referred to as Inuit, and that's the people that live up north. They're Inuit. So I'm surprised that the Edmonton Eskimos actually kept that name as long as they have, because even when I was a kid, I knew. But back in the 80s, we didn't say Eskimo. Like, we didn't say that. We didn't refer to them as that.
Yeah.
These people are for you, Rock.
I appreciate it.
Are you ready in here?
I think so.
Yeah, well, tonight's our night, kid.
By the sound of the crowd, the champion is just now coming into the spectrum. And the champion up.
All right, so Paul's coming out. He's all business, like they're saying. He's not coming out to parade this time. And Tony's holding up the championship belt. They're all business, hype. Let's get this done. And then Rocky says, it's Apollo. Who do you expect?
I was hoping it wouldn't show.
So the lighthearted moments here, which I kind of like, shows that Rocky, even in this moment, he's still keeping things chill and cool and relaxed. And Mickey's playing along with him. Then the announcers are actually noticing that, Rocky doesn't seem as confident as Apollo. Well, no. Apollo's pissed. And I think Rocky notices, too, that Apollo looks angry. He goes up to Rocky right away. You're going down. And then Mickey says, don't let it bother you, kid.
Bother you, kid.
Wouldn't bother you.
That's great. So, of course, the announcer comes out, gives the introductions here, and Adrian's looking nervous at home. 15 rounds, which they don't do anymore, of course. It's 12 now, Kyle. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, it's 12. Mm-hmm.
Why did they change that? Do we know?
I don't, actually. Maybe just fights went too long. Who knows?
Maybe. So Rocky's 202.
Yeah, which is like his kind of his fighting. Like he was 201 when he fought a Clubber, even though when his first fight with Clubber he was 201, even though like his body fat was obviously way lower.
Yeah, in reality, it was like 150.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't think he's 202 here, Doug, in real life, Sly?
No. Here, even as like a little beefier than he is in later movies, he's probably like 170, 175 maybe.
Have you seen Goslo's girlfriend here? She is smoking.
Goslo his last girlfriend, too, was pretty good looking also. He knows how to charm the ladies.
Yeah. Apollo is 220. Is that about right? Do you think Carl Weathers is closer to 220?
220 even seems like a little bit. I mean, he's in great shape, but how tall do you think he is? 6'2"?
He's about 6'1", 6'2".
205 maybe?
Anthony Joshua, for example, has a similar build to Carl Weathers there, but he's taller, quite a bit taller, 6'7". Wow. But he comes in at like 260, I think.
Oof.
I could see Carl Weathers being 220 there for sure.
Well, I've got the height here. He is, drumroll please, he is 6.17 feet tall.
Yeah.
There you go. Almost.
So he's between 6'1" and 6'2".
Wearing the boots, he's 6'2", at least.
You got to go metric on us.
Well, it was 1.88 meters, so I had to go. Yeah. I had to do it for you Americans.
You had to convert for us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just for the record, Doug, no one in Canada says their height in meters.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Yeah. Only doctors do, which is ridiculous. Doctors will do your weight and height. We actually still do. I'm 6 feet, whatever pounds. We say that still. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the instructions now, and I expect you to follow. Watch the low punches and watch the kidney punches. Watch the rabbit punches. Okay, so
what are rabbit punches again? I keep forgetting.
Like a hammer fist to the back of the neck.
Oh, the hammer?
Or the back of the head.
Does it have to be the back of the head or anywhere on the body?
I thought there was the punches in quick succession like that. I could be wrong. I'm not confident.
because back when they would kill rabbits for clothing, that's the most humane way to kill them is chop them right in the back of the neck.
And I'll point out in the fight between Ali and Chuck Wepner, which the original Rocky was based on, Chuck Wepner was doing that the whole fight.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Ali was getting really upset with him. And he said later he did it on purpose to piss Ali off, to like kind of get him to do something dumb so he wouldn't be disciplined during the fight.
A knockdown, you go to the corner I tell you to and stay there until I tell you to come out. Understand?
Go to the corner I tell you and stay there till I tell you to come out. Has that ever been done in this fight? I thought they just go to their corner.
I don't know. I'll have to look and see if they point to a corner. But it's usually the opposite corner from where the person fell, right?
Okay.
Unless they fall in the middle of the ring. I don't know what corner they pick, but
Okay, boys, let's have a good fight.
Going down.
Remember Rocky 3, Apollo says, you beat me because you had the eye of the tiger. Does that look like the eye of the tiger to you guys?
Yeah. No, Apollo for sure has the eye of the tiger. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. Rocky seems like timid and afraid like he did against Clubber in the first fight.
Right.
He looks more afraid now than he did for the Super Fight 1.
Well, that makes sense because he's already had the shit beat out of him, right? Like he didn't realize what was going to happen in the first fight. Like ignorance was bliss, right? Like he knows what's going to go down now.
Yeah,
true. Stitchman says, "Good luck to you." Okay, sorry.
Going down.
Good luck to you.
You're still upset.
Who cares? Now listen, protect that eye. And no matter what happens, don't go back to fighting Southpaw till I tell you. Now you get him, see?
Okay. Hey, Rock. Good luck.
Now he's going to try to kill you quick. And you get through this first round, and he's ours.
Okay.
Show him who you are.
He did mention if you just get through this first round, he's ours, which is actually ironically that's what happened. They got through the first round. Now, he didn't own Apollo, but he ended up winning. At this point, Rocky is on board about pretending not to be Southpaw. Am I following the storyline? Like, I'm always so confused about the real life situation and what's happening here.
Rocky is fighting right-handed. Well, he's doing this to protect his eye, right? Because if you're fighting left-handed like he did in the first fight, then his right eye is closer to Apollo than his left eye is, and that's the eye that's eating all the jabs. And so now basically he's switching to get his other eye beat the fuck out of.
Equally blinded.
So now he's going to be totally blind after this fight. Oh, and he slipped the jab. I want to bring up here that Rocky slips the jab just once this whole fight and never ever does it again. But it was important enough to be brought up in the fifth movie.
Slip the jab. Slip the jab. That's right. Slip the jab. Slip the jab. Just so I'm tracking. So Rocky is on board fighting right-handed right now in the fight, because later in the fight he says, no tricks.
Yeah, he was going to keep fighting right-handed. Because Mickey's like, okay, now we're going to switch to Southpaw, which is gonna win us the fight. And then Rocky's like, no tricks.
Why is that a trick? That's
because like Apollo will get used to fighting a right-handed fighter, and then Rocky will suddenly switch to being a left-handed fighter. So you could probably throw that big left, and Apollo will not be used to guarding that way, and he can get that knockout punch at the end. I think it's the idea.
All right, the gym, I work part-time at a gym, and part of the workouts that we organize for our members is boxing. We also do like those focus pads with the boxers.
Oh, they're called focus pads. I can't remember that we mentioned last episode. What are they called again? So the pads they hold in their hands are called focus pads?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Me being a right-handed puncher, right? It's easy for me to do like the jab, the cross, the hook, like all those punches. When somebody comes up to me that's a left-handed puncher, I have to kind of really think about my orientation, where the pads are, which one's the jab, which one's the cross, which one's their strong side hook, because as I'm doing, I'm calling out the punches and they're swinging. I'm messing up because like in my head, I'm a right-handed fighter. So I instinctively want to go the right-handed way. So it is very confusing. I will say that.
That's why Tony didn't want Apollo fighting Rocky in the first place. For that very reason, is when you fight the left-handed fighter.
Well, yeah, Rocky mentioned that Adrian, that nobody wants to fight him because he's a southpaw. He says that on
Yeah.
the date when they're going on the skate rink. He goes, nobody wants to fight me because I'm a southpaw. I'm naive when it comes to being a boxer because I'm not one. You think they would just train how to deal with both?
They do in reality. Like there's lots of boxers. Like I'll bring up Floyd Mayweather, for example, who
can do both.
Who has a great record. I don't know if he does both, but yeah, a lot of boxers switch. But like he has no problem against left-handed fighters. In fact, he does better against them.
Which makes him Floyd Mayweather. Maybe that's just it.
Yeah.
If you can handle both, you just do better in the ring, I guess.
There's certain strategies to fighting left-handed people. Like there's certain ways you do footwork to avoid their punch. Because your jab is going right up against their jab. It's really awkward.
Right.
You get thrown off if someone's, especially like if you're doing that work and then someone switches all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like it's going to take you time to adapt. I think they're hoping that Apollo won't be able to adapt.
Well, it's mentioned in the film here that when Rocky gets punched down, of course, Apollo's like, yeah, I already got him already, but Balboa gets up. But the announcers already mentioned that bad eye got cut again. So
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the plan's already failed. They've mentioned that.
I think they're talking about the wrong eye, though. I think his left eye is opened up here when it was his
Yeah.
right eye. Mm-hmm.
But he seems to be in pretty good condition right now. And a hard right hand thrown by the champion. Another right. Balboa is in trouble now. He is in trouble, taking rights and lefts. As the champion begins to open up. It was a tremendous right hand. Balboa now.
Oh, we see a cut over that bad left eye. Remember from the first fight.
Yeah, that's wrong.
That's right. His bad eye was his right eye because Mickey slaps. Was it the right eye? Because he slapped him across. Yeah.
It was for sure the right eye.
Mm-hmm.
Now you didn't see nothing.
And they said
would have caved in your whole face, the side of your face.
Like if you look at Rocky's face from after that fight, both eyes were pretty messed up. The right worse, mind you, but
The
it's
right
not
was the one they cut open, right?
Yeah, it's not like the other eye was left alone, right? Like, Rocky's bad eye is going to keep getting hit. Like it is pretty risky for him to fight.
The right eye got cut. I think that's what we're led to believe. The right eye was the one that Kobe Mick. It was the right eye there.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was the right eye.
Now it's his left eye that's bleeding that got cut, and they're saying that's the eye that was cut last time. No, they're wrong. The announcers are wrong. So here's the more Sly lore. Sly wrote the dialogue. Are the announcers wrong and Sly wrote it that way, or did Sly forget which eye got wrecked?
I'm going the latter. Hey, my screen changed. I'm not in Mars anymore.
Why are you not read like Mars anymore? What happened?
I don't know.
He's entered the atmosphere. Welcome home.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Everyone on YouTube, go to YouTube and see Kyle. He's no longer red. I'm gonna have to change the one more round thumbnail because that's why it's red. That's why the red face.
Strike while the iron's hot, man. I don't know how much longer this is gonna last. They'll probably go back to being red.
Okay, so they go back to fighting. Champion starts to move in again, going left to right.
But Apollo is clearly dominating because, like in the first fight, Apollo probably squeaked out of the first round. Even though he got knocked down, he also knocked down Rocky and he got some good shots in. Mm-hmm. And then that second round was also kind of close, where Apollo started out really strong in the second, then Rocky was just pummeling him at the end. But so far, 2 rounds have gone by, and Rocky's just got owned so far.
There's a lot of bad blood between these two.
Good round. I can't believe it. I broke my nose again.
Balboa, he's got to be in great shape to withstand that butchering. And I'll tell you, that's just what it is plain old butchering.
Why, did the switching bother you? Nothing bothered me. Why, but then you should have had him.
You can't be hurt. You fella, you can't be hurt because you are too tough.
Now, don't let up on this man. This man is dangerous.
The man is dangerous.
That guy's great.
No, listen, he's only a man. You can beat him because you're a tank, kid. You're a greasy, fast, 200-pound Italian tank. Go through him. Run over him.
Okay.
Get in the car.
We'll get him.
This is it, man. Best of all time.
A couple of things were brought back in the Creed films when Apollo says here, I'm dangerous. I'm dangerous. And remember when Adonis talks to Rocky and says, I'm dangerous. The same thing.
Yeah.
I think that's an obvious nod to this film when Adonis mentions that he too is dangerous. This round, of course, is very, very embarrassing for Rocky. I believe this is the round that Apollo does the windmill attack.
Yeah, I hate that. He winds up his arm like Popeye.
Get your cameras ready.
Dude, Rocky got some body shots in on him, and he's going, no, to the crowd. It didn't hurt him.
Yeah.
That is a blatant ripoff of the Ali Frazier fight. This whole fight actually is kind of a ripoff of that fight. Even the colors of the trunks are the same. Frazier would get body shots like that, and Ali would do the same thing. He'd be like, no, it doesn't hurt me, doesn't hurt me.
So he's been knocked down again, Kyle. You're more of a boxer watcher. Twice now in 2 rounds. Did they keep the fight going, or
there's fights where people get knocked out a bunch of times? As long as he can get up and he's like knows where he is and stuff, it's fine.
So Mickey also protect that eye, kid. So it's just weird that the announcers got it so wrong. So either Sly wrote it that way, or it's just a film flub.
I hate watching this fight because they really could have trained Rocky better to not get hit so much. In the third film, do you remember when, before the first clubber fight, when he has a sparring partner, Mick's going like side to side, Rock, side to side. Mm-hmm. Going side to side like that would be really helpful. Like Mike Tyson is really good at going side to side, and because he was a shorter fighter like Rocky, and going side to side, you could avoid that jab. And like getting low, bobbing and weaving, going side to side, like all that would have like really, really helped him against Apollo. But like Mickey's strategy is, let's just fight right-handed, and so your other eye will get pummeled instead of the one that's like,
really,
what are you doing?
Even in between rounds, like the only strategy he gives Rocky is run through him, run over him. You're a tank. Run over him. How about, slip the jab? How about stick and move? Anything like that? No, it's it's just hyping him up with
or like focus on the body. The more you hit Apollo's body, the less he's going to be able to hit you. He's going to tire up.
Right.
There was a real sequence they kept in the film where both Carl and Sly were really irritated with each other, and they kept in the film. Mm-hmm. Is it this part here?
Yeah. This is it, where they're like, this is going to be World War III.
Pick it up. I'm standing there. Going second round, and they're taunting each other. The round is over, but they're taunting each other. Everybody in the audience better get ready for a World War III.
That's a great musical cue, and Rocky says he ain't going down no more. But he does.
Oh, in the end.
Does he not go down one more time before that?
Nope. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. What we heard, that musical cue there by Bill Conti, I believe on the CD or the vinyl or whatever track, it's called The War, I believe, or something to that effect. I think it's called that because it's World War III. Anyways, I just love that build-up cue because now it's a battle. Truly it's a battle. Now this is the classic Rocky montage of the first couple of rounds we get to see in real time. And then for the sake of a movie length, now we get the montage of both fighters just going through that war. They've been through a war, these two. We see Paulie and Adrian, round 6. So all the rounds are going to Creed, more or less, which is important.
No, all of them are. Later in the film, they're going to be like, Apollo just lost his first round. I wonder what's going on in his mind right now.
Isn't that after the like the slow motion sequence? And they say, I got to give that round to Rocky.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, even Apollo threw some body shots, which is really odd for him to do.
He held his head down there. You're not allowed to do that. Well, he's doing the body shots. No. He was holding his head, doing those body shots.
Ali was really bad about holding people's necks like that, too.
Okay.
Like it was... Yeah, this is where Rocky's going to win the round. Where, I don't know, Apollo's inviting him to give him body shots. I don't understand that.
I love Carl's tongue out here.
Yeah. Those gotta hurt, man. Those rib shots. The first one kind of went like those go wide, kind of hit him in the back of the shoulder, which there's like a nerve that runs like up your armpit. If you hit that, it'll like stun your entire arm where you can't even use it.
Or it's like if someone punches you in the arm really hard, like that.
Yeah.
That hurts still, right?
Yeah.
So Rocky's starting to win rounds now, I think. Rocky's thing is his stamina. His stamina is generally better than Apollo's, and his ability to take punishments better. So he's starting to find ways to hit Apollo. Like Apollo's slowing down now. And Tony's way of saying it is, this man is breaking you up inside.
I love the acting by Tony when he's yelling, this man is breaking you up inside. And as he's saying that, spit and saliva is just flying out of Tony's mouth. Is that really the actor having real saliva in his mouth, or did they put in extra water in his mouth?
I don't think you can write something like that. It's just Tony Burton going for it, man. He is brilliant in every scene. He chews it up, every scene he's in.
Oh, Doug, I got to send you a clip of him is an inmate in a Scared Straight program where he's just so intense.
Well, I think we owe it to the network that we watched that film.
There's a film from like 1980. It's like based on the Scared Straight movie where they have like these fictional inmates doing Scared Straight, and Tony Burton is one of the guys. I'll message you with the clip because it's fucking.
Yeah. I want to see it. There's Apollo going to the body a little bit, huh?
They've definitely been in a war, these two. Another round for the champion.
So Apollo has now won more than half of the rounds. Fair to say.
Yeah.
He's dominated the fight. Like Tony will say, there's really like no reason to go for the knockout. No one will ever say that, oh, Rocky won this fight. Like, it's very clear that you were the better fighter.
Question for you, an alternate universe. Had Apollo won this fight, would he have ever died at the hands of Drago?
That's a good discussion point.
The issue with Apollo is that he can't leave the game.
Actually, let's say he beats Rocky. Another challenger would have come after him, or would he have retired shortly after this, and or taken out a couple more challengers, then retire? So he wouldn't have any kind of friend. The reason why because Drago and Rocky IV came to fight Rocky, and Rocky was going to actually do it. He was actually going to do it, but then Paul said, "Oh, let me get him at first. Then you get your chance. They don't get your chance." Rocky never said he wasn't going to do it. Apollo just stepped in first because of their friendship. But I don't know if Apollo could have done that with any other champ, because another champion could say, "Well, screw you, you old."
Apollo might have still been the champion.
Even then, 5-6 years later? That's the question, is would he still be champion, or would he have lost it or retired before Drago's time?
No matter what happens, he retires after this fight. You can't do this twice and then expect to continue on. Rocky may fade off into obscurity after this, but Apollo, already at this point in the fight, Apollo has already lost, because in his mind, this was supposed to be a second round bloodbath, decisive victory that makes him the greatest of all time. And the first time was just a fluke. But here he is. Rocky has given him the same kind of fight that he gave him the first time. Whether he wins, but you were supposed to beat him in the second round.
That's right.
Or if he loses, the first fight wasn't a fluke. Rocky is a superior fighter.
He's got some people coming up too that, sure, they could do the Mickey handpicked or whatever, but at some point, but Tony wouldn't do that to Apollo. He would just say, "Let's go, baby."
Yeah.
I don't think Apollo listens to Tony though. Apollo is disappointed that he didn't beat Rocky. I think if Apollo knocked Rocky out, that would go a long way. In Apollo's mind, beating Rocky on points is not an option, and I get that.
Right.
Everyone else would not look down on him for it, but I don't think he really cares what they think. Like in his mind, for him,
it'll just be like a copy of the first fight. Like, you beat him on points the first time, you beat him on points the second time. Big whoop.
The first fight was close technically. Like you could hear the judges score it at the end. It was like a split decision. So one judge actually went against him, and the other judges, it was like 8-7. Right, where this fight, he's won by a huge margin, and if he finishes with the knockout, he might be able to live with it.
Now you got him beat on points, you understand? Now stick and move. He's gonna go for the knockout. He's gonna go for the knockout. You understand? Now he's breaking you up inside.
What's that eye now?
It works.
You can't do much more with that, can you?
I know what I'm doing.
Hey, Rock, you get in trouble one more time, I'm with you.
They just done nothing.
Now listen, let me stop it, cuz. Listen, you're getting killed out there.
It's my life.
I have Apollo well ahead. All he has to do is stay away, and he retains the title.
Just stick and move, you understand? Just stick and move. Now you got 3 minutes.
Now switch now to southpaw anyway, will you?
No tricks, I ain't switching.
Yeah, but you're fading out then. Why don't you
I don't need no tricks.
I think he does switch though. I want to watch for it, but I'm pretty sure he switches.
That's what I thought. I was just so confused. The real world, the reason why they even had the switch talk was because apparently he tore his whatever. But I don't see any kind of injury in this swing. Sly is using both arms. I don't know what's going on here. Sly and his stories. I don't know.
I love how desperate Tony sounds in that before that round.
Yeah.
He's like, just stick and move.
Okay, look. Boom. Big left.
Because his left foot is back, which would be his strong side.
So has he switched, or what's going on?
Yeah, he's throwing huge left hands.
Yeah,
well, those are right hands there, but he was throwing really.
Those aren't jabs, those are power hooks.
Hard lefts. That's like in the third film. Clubber fights southpaw one fight and right-handed the other fight. They don't keep track. They don't know.
They're just trading blows. They're just trading.
No defense whatsoever. Their hands are down at their sides. They're just desperately slapping at each other.
How could you stand up? Rocky, I think he connects last, right? So we ever get a final answer on this? Apollo falls because of Rocky's hit, but Rocky just stumbles due to no hit. So is it that they're both being counted out?
Rocky falling would be ruled a trip because he didn't fall by the result of a punch. Where it gets hazy is the result. Would Rocky still be considered on his feet? So the only person that this hinges on is Apollo, whether or not Rocky gets up. If Apollo stays down, does Rocky win?
The announcers are right that if Rocky doesn't get up, it is a draw.
Okay.
Because even though it's a slip, you still have to be on your feet to win the fight.
Yeah.
So maybe a no contest. I'm not sure.
Doesn't Lou count to 10? I'm so confused. This whole 10, you're out. But I think Rocky's barely on his feet.
Oh yeah, Lou gave him a gift there, man.
Yes. Because he's still holding on to the rope.
Rocky's moving pretty. You could say it's in slow motion. That's why he's counting slow. But then Rocky's moving fairly quickly, and then Lou's 9.
No matter how many times I see this film, this part always stresses me out. I don't know. I always feel like Rocky's not going to get up in time.
That was close. I might have gave Rocky that one. He had one hand on the rope, but was standing. I'm like,
all right.
Yeah, fine. You can win the fight.
The difference between where Tony is coming from and where Apollo's coming from and going into that last round is Tony is providing logic and Apollo is just thinking with his ego. It's ego versus logic, and logic wins like every time. Apollo's a gracious loser, though.
And I just want to say thanks to Apollo.
Watch for Duke's face.
Okay.
Oh, I thank Mick
Maybe
for training me.
It might have been earlier. It might have been when he holds Rocky's hand up. Duke is not happy.
Oh, really? Let me go back. I'll just mute it and just go back here. It's okay.
Duke has a bit of what you call a resting bitch face, anyways.
Yeah, does he?
Oh yeah,
Right
he's just like,
oh, yeah, fair.
You beat him on points, you idiot.
Yeah, he
did what I told you to do.
I can't believe this is happening.
Gracious winner.
I can't. And I just want to say thanks to Apollo for fighting me, Apollo. Oh, I thank Mickey for training me.
We love you, Rock!
Yeah, I love you too. Most of all, I want to thank God.
There's no more religion.
Except for my kid being born. This is the greatest night in the history of my life. I just want to say one thing to my wife who's home. Yo, Adrian!
I'm surprised he didn't say, I just want to say one thing to my wife who's home because the doctor said so.
Yeah, we have to hammer it down, right?
I think it's funny that his list of greatest things that have ever happened to him. Put the son up there. It's good. It's good. Not getting married, not meeting Adrian, not having her part of his life.
Not my wife coming out of a coma.
But as soon as he says that, I laughed because as soon as he says that, it shows Adrian's face. Like it almost like reminds you of like, hey, what about me?
His son being born didn't matter for a couple of days because he didn't go see him until Adrian came out of the coma. So
I know.
I don't know.
We love Rocky. He doesn't always make sense, but we love him.
How good of a speech can you give if you have a concussion?
His mush brain.
Well, guys, what do you think? That's the end of Rocky 2, Season 2. I mean, I think we gave some good insight this season. I'm not going to lie to you. I think we gave some fun insight, good insight. We still discovered things that we hadn't talked about before, Kyle, if you can believe it. There were things that we came up with and thought of that I dare say even Rocky Minute might not have been. But between the two shows, I think we've exhausted Rocky 2. I don't think any other podcast can do it again. What do you think, Doug?
No, I would agree. I would agree.
I always think there's room for more.
Oh, don't say that. Well, then you can do it.
How dare you?
Let her train you.
I loved listening back to you guys, and I know I weighed in on a lot of things because there was stuff like I went into this whole color theory thing during our season that I know I checked in with you once or twice. I know, Ryan, you had a very good explanation for it, but of Rocky's motivation for fighting.
Oh,
I know it could be both. It could be both, but I still feel like it should have been more rock solid, clear. This is why Rocky wants to take this fight. This is why he's taking this fight. But I respect your thought on it, and it kind of me and my co-host Jay, it kind of like soured us to Rocky 2 a little bit, because even at the end of the fight, we're still somewhat unclear as to what his motivations were. Having said that, Rocky 2, it's still a Rocky movie, and we still love it.
I think it's the most underrated film of the franchise. I think everyone likes it, but it's just never. Everyone talks about the Drago. Everyone talks about Clubber Lang. Everybody hates Rocky 5. Everyone talks about how Rocky 6 is the comeback film. Rocky 2, in many ways, is just the least talked about, most underrated film of the franchise. And I dare say it's probably the strongest of the sequels. I think when it comes to a sequel, it's a bookend to the first film. I think you could literally put Rocky, if you showed somebody Rockies 1 and 2 and didn't tell them that any other films exist, they would probably say it's a perfect two-parter.
Yeah, Rocky could have ended here. Rocky could have ended after the first film, mind you. I still think technically it should have. As much as I like all the Rocky sequels, artistically, if you're going to have a sequel, I think Rocky 2 is a fine sequel. And it could have ended right there.
We love all the movies. We're going to go through them all. But all my times doing these podcasts of the Rocky films and seeing all the socials online, what people tweet and what people share, Rocky 2 is the most undershared, under-talked about of all the films. If you want to talk about press, because Rocky 5 gets more press than Rocky 2 because everybody hates 5.
Because when I hear underrated, what I think of is how it's rated versus how good it really is.
Everyone talks about what's your favorite Rocky film. 90 to 95% of the conversation is the first or the fourth film. Very rarely, though there are people, very rarely are people saying the second is my favorite film.
The second is pretty underrated. The fifth is probably the most underrated because it gets so much hate.
Now we're getting into real technicality of underrated. You're right. I don't think it deserves the hate it gets, but it's not a better film than Part 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I don't think it deserves the hate it gets, but 2 is a vastly superior film than Part 2.
Honestly, I find Part 2 kind of boring. Like I feel like it's too long. I don't like the fight at the end.
Yeah.
I have a solution for you there, Kyle, because Ryan, you said before that the film is too long, so they had to cut certain things out. Now, if you trim certain things like the coma, certain other like character things about Rocky, like the shopping spree and shit like that. One of the things I really wish they would have explored in this, and I know it's a Rocky movie, not an Apollo movie, is Apollo struggling with the first fight, how it affected him and personally and emotionally and his family. Number one. Number two, if one of Rocky's motivations was in fact that he loves boxing and it's a part of his personality and his psyche and he can't give it up, I wish they would have showed more of that, like him struggling with giving it up. Not just one scene of him tearfully saying, I got to be around it. Like that didn't sell it for me. If you correct a couple of those things, I think this could have been far and away the most popular sequel, not underrated whatsoever.
Good points. Great corrections there. Absolutely. Doug the plug. Plug what you want to plug there, brother. What's going on with you?
All right. There might be people out there that think Rocky Minute has folded, but we have not. It's been a long time ago, but the pandemic and some personal, personal things going on in my own life have stalled the release of our coverage of Rocky 3. Some might have known in our last episode that I said this episode is going to come out in 2020. And here we are 3 years later, and I finally released it. But the episodes that I have recorded are dripping out slowly, but I have plans on getting back in recording. I'm back in the editing booth, so we're moving along, and we're here. We're not going to let you forget us. So
good.
We're coming out.
Well, you're a top show on the network. You're a beloved podcaster, and the Rocky Minute is a staple of the network. And yes, we love having the Rocky Minute on the network. You were the first show to agree to come on the network, and I appreciate you taking that leap of faith from your other more established network that you're a part of. You come to this one, and so I appreciate that. I don't know if it helped your show or not. I apologize.
I don't care about numbers. I just love doing it.
I love having you. You're a friend, not just of the show, but to me personally, Doug, and I do appreciate that. And speaking of which, it's a good thing you'll get back to recording episodes again because you have nothing's coming up soon that's going to keep you busy. Am I right? Oh, wait a minute. A baby is coming.
I do have a baby coming, which means I'll have a lot of time inside the house to.
There you go.
All I need is an hour, right?
Yeah. Doug, do me a favor when your baby's born, see them right away, okay?
All right.
Don't wait a couple days. Just see them like immediately.
Kyle, for you, I will. For you,
okay, thank you.
Well, you and your lovely wife are such a good-looking couple. That baby is going to be stunning. So, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Lastly, if you're listening to this and you'd like the stuff that Doug and I do, Doug, I, and Craig, our next review of the Stallone Podcast Network films that we do, the next one will be Oscar. And if that baby's not born early, we're doing one in July. So just let people know that Oscar is the next film for that. All right, before Doug gives his wonderfully, you'll see, he does a terrible job with the outro. You'll see. But I also want to say, before I even, we get to, of course, our lovely Katie, when Doug does do the outro, he screws up, and he screws up kind of old school. You'll hear how, well, I don't want to really spoil the surprise, but he screws up. But after I started editing the episode, I realized that I said, well, I'm kind of spoiling here, but I want to speak for Doug a little bit. I said ding ding at the beginning of the episode, so I think I might have triggered Doug's brain, and you'll see how that plays in later. Okay. Anyways, without further ado, before we close the show, of course, do not go anywhere, folks, because really the gem, the smartest person on our podcast, the person who holds this podcast together, really, let's be honest, is Katie and her thoughts on Rocky II and the final fight. We wish she could have been there, but no, she had to go on a vacation again. Must be nice. Anyways, here she is.
Hi, Ryan, Kyle, and whatever cheap second-rate podcast host you got to replace me today. First of all, I've never seen so many Italians in my whole life. Okay. Also, I love how Rocky puts Polly in charge. Polly then proceeds to drink at least a six-pack. The proper Italian stallion colors we have here. Yes, I said the proper yellow and black with the stallion logo is the proper colors. When Apollo says, "I'm dangerous," it's one of the callbacks that I really appreciated from Adonis Creed's character when he says the same thing in the Creed movie, or maybe it was Creed 2, I forget. There's also a point in the fight when one of the announcers says, "Everybody better get ready for World War III." This reminds me of how when I was a kid, I actually thought there were 4 world wars. Really. Because I equated them with the number of Rocky movies, and at the time there were 4 Rocky movies. So I thought there were 4 world wars somehow. I don't know. Kids are dumb. I love the intercutting of the managers/trainers getting frustrated with their fighter for not listening, aka not protecting themselves as they're instructed. And then when Rocky says no tricks, then he does. When Mickey yells now, well, sort of. I don't know. He kind of does both. Also, Apollo lets his ego get in the way and loses because of it, which is typical Apollo. I'm curious to see how you cover Rocky's momentum fall or slip or whatever it was and the 10 count. And I can't wait to hear the banter about Lou Filippo. And God, the music. I could probably do a whole podcast just about the music. It's literal perfection here. The final scene, the final scene with Mickey, how it fades into the painting, that was pretty damn cool at the time. Actually, it still is. I think that's it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You ain't never getting rid of me.
Doug, do you want the honors of taking us out?
For the last time, I'd be honored.
Yeah,
ding,
right.
ding.
Oh, no, yeah,
Sorry.
I got.
Sorry. Okay.
Let me say the episode's over. Then you say,
wait a minute. We don't do the
That's
ding.
right.
Oh, the
That's
ding,
right.
ding. Oh my God.
That's going the distance. This is one more round.
I forgot.
Oh, okay.
Wait, how do you finish again?
I didn't hear no bell.
I didn't hear no bell. That's it. Okay. Oh boy, what a disaster! All right, well,
you cut the shit out of that. You hear me?
I don't know. Maybe I won't actually. Not for you. Okay, so with that, everyone, this episode and season 2 is over.
I didn't hear no bell.
I just want to